to Onesies, a podcast of one season wonders and blunders. My name's Andrew.
And my name is Emily.
And we are continuing our 14 episode now, blundering through Dracula the series, a 1990 syndicated Canadian production filmed in Luxembourg by the people who would eventually make Hallmark Entertainment. Sadly, there's no good Christian message to this show other than women are evil. But yes, so are you ready to get into Sophie, Queen of the Night, episode 14?
Episode 14. If I can get the song out of my head. I want to talk about, again, I don't have nearly as many notes as you do, but I want to talk about actors' choices. I want to talk about cliches and happily ever uh-oh.
Okay, I will talk about the morning mail. It's just a little bit. Zombies and chase scenes.
Oh my God. Well, your chase scene and my cliches might intertwine a little bit.
Fine, then my backup.
No. We can talk about it because all I was thinking was how horrible that chase scene was at the end.
Because, I mean, we started the pre-show talking about how women can't support each other. That is one of my notes, but it's only got 2 stars, not 3 like usual.
Oh.
But I didn't realize what it was going to be like. Oh, yes, because that's actually from the first scene. Oh, wow. No, yes, definitely women can't support each other. Because that's in the first scene and it comes back later. Okay.
Yeah.
So we pick up our action approximately a day after last episode.
Because we couldn't keep up with the timeline on the previous episode, it's hard to say. However, it seems that this episode takes place over the course of 2 days?
Yeah, but the time between this episode and last episode,
right,
is the sort of question. It's a few days. It's not long.
So what we gather from the first scene is Chris has told Max and Gustav that Sophie is a vampire. That's all we know.
Yep.
That's it.
And that they can't go to the police because they'll tell Lucard, and then Lucard will do whatever.
There's some continuity there, though. If that is Detective Wolf or whatever his name was from.
But we know that, but Gustav doesn't know that, right?
Maybe.
I don't think Gustav knows that Wolf was a double agent.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so then the scene ends with Gustav saying, well, vampire or not, hopefully Sophie's good nature will prevent her from attacking and hurting anyone.
But in this first scene, we get my first point, which is actors' choices, where Gustav just randomly throws in lower back pain action, which never comes back again. I mean, occasionally he'll do it, but it's only when he's standing around the house. It's never when he's mid-action, mid-fighting a vampire. His back never hurts.
Except the episode where his back went out.
Oh,
the King Coates episode, yes.
Yeah, except the fact that I always have lower back pain, and it always prevents me from fighting vampires. I would be sucked into a life of no pain and eating humans. I would relish that opportunity if it got rid of my back pain.
Low cost for feeding on human flesh. I was going to say that reminds me of the flying car bit by Kevin Smith, but that's an incredibly homophobic bit. Okay, so whether or not it's funny is also a problem, but sigh. Back to actually something that has no sexual undertones for once, which is kind of nice. But then we cut to Sophie attacking her old history teacher.
Yeah.
So the lady is walking home on a dark, deserted path in Luxembourg where she speaks English, because that's what they speak in Luxembourg, English. And the lady's like, "Oh, it's Sophie, whatever your name is. I kicked you out of my class 2 years ago for being a know-it-all." And she's like, "I hope you've learned you don't know it all." And so Sophie talks some shit, and then the lady calls her old sly hoops.
No, oh God, what is it? Because I was gonna write it down. God damn it. I don't know what it is. It's not old sly hooks. But it is an old timey sort of phraseology for something. And not an old sly fox. I can't think of it.
Okay,
I'd have to rewatch it. But it's this old timey thing that's like, oh, you're too smart for your own good, essentially.
which does not come back to this episode at all.
At all.
Sophie then attacks the old lady with a long fangs out scene.
Yeah,
That is my
she's taking a cue from Jordy Johnson and throwing her head way back and fanging out.
but this is the first women can't support each other because I don't know if you know this as a woman, but none
Oh,
of your
please
female
tell me.
teachers,
Tell me.
all of your female teachers are in competition with you for men. So you can't trust any of them.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough.
I mean, that's what I learned. That's what I've learned from watching television. Okay.
Yeah, so Sophie fangs out, and again we're left with the introduction and
Oh, that's right. Yes. Okay.
with the assumption that the lady's dead.
And then we open on the castle where Lucard
Ugh.
is lecturing his new business manager, Mrs. Fenning,
Yes.
about his shit around his house or something.
She's an accountant or an accounts manager or CFO or something, working directly with him. And I find it odd that she is criticizing him for owning old works of art when he could invest that money and it could pay more in dividends. I mean, I don't know what the art market is, but I think having a little bit of old artwork around that he probably didn't even pay for is probably okay. It's probably going to increase in value and be able to sell. But yeah, she's lecturing him about that, and then Sophie is also in the room,
Sophie
and
comes in
she comes in
because she just got back from presumably killing her old teacher.
and she's changed her clothes. Yeah.
And Lucard's like, "I got you a present." He got her a harpsichord, which she then sits down and starts not playing very visibly. Like it is a player piano playing the theme to the Sting.
Yeah.
Practically. And she's just like,
you don't even see her hands moving. Like she's behind the harpsichord. You cannot see her hands moving. She's just kind of nodding her head, but she doesn't really seem to be feeling it. Another great actor's choice, I thought, that she just, I don't know. The music that is playing is very beautiful, but she does not appear to be making that music. I don't know how anybody could suspend their disbelief enough to think that she was making that music.
So Lucard explains that her learning curve, because she's a vampire now, is shot off the chart.
So wait, I become a vampire and I can kill my old English teacher or history teacher. I can live at night
and during the
live
day
forever.
Yep.
Continue to accrue money.
Yep.
And I can learn to do anything very quickly. You're selling it.
Like
You're
the
selling
Matrix. Yeah, it sounds like the best of the Matrix,
You're
right?
selling
like,
it.
yeah,
I'm there. I'm there.
Totally do this. So this is where Mrs. Fenning lectures Lucard about his sheer extravagance.
Yeah.
And Lucard's like, I prefer excess. He's like, you can be frank with me to a point, but only to a point. Mm-hmm. This is where I noticed that Geordie's new hair, the puffier hair, is here to stay.
Mm.
Okay, so now we cut to Gustav asking Chris and Max what they're doing. They're reading the newspaper about a wild animal attack. Sophie's history teacher was mauled by a wild animal, but she's not dead.
But she
So
can't
Sophie,
remember what happened to
right.
her. Thank goodness.
And so Gustav's like, oh, she hated Sophie. And I'm like, how do you get your history teacher to hate you when you're
And
Sophie's age?
also, and she's Sophie. I mean, so far that we have seen, she's been intelligent, thoughtful.
Well, except when she's terrible.
Except when she's terrible, but like as a student, you can imagine her maybe being too
But
smart for her own good.
what if she's terrible in the classes?
Maybe.
What if
I don't
she's
know. It does kind of seem out of character for me.
this is a terrible episode for Mia Kirshner. Like last episode
Oh,
was terrible and
so bad.
problematic. This one's worse acting, but not like there's nothing. We don't get any Lucard creepiness with her.
A little bit. There is a little bit when she sits down at the harpsichord and he like plays with her hair a little bit. It's like, ugh. But it's not as bad. And then there's a scene closer to the end where she's like, I would never do anything to anger you.
Oh yeah, that one. That one's creepy. Yeah. Okay, but we don't have the sapphic creepiness with the older woman that we had a couple episodes ago. Though we do have the same fucking story repeated from that episode. That was 3 episodes ago. Okay, so Gustav has been out at the spring where he purified, because, remember back when we saw Dracula there? And I'm like, remember, it was 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
Like, it was really recent. But Gustav's like, maybe this will be a cure. We don't know. It's possible it will cure the rare blood type strain of vampirism that she got from Vincente, or whatever his name is, Vincent, who's mentioned but does not show up in this episode.
Yeah. So the theory is, if I remember correctly, that it cured Lucard by returning him to his natural state, which being a vampire is not his natural state.
No.
And so perhaps it could cure Sophie and by bringing her back to her natural state, which is a human being.
So it restores a recent backup, basically.
And they are completely ignoring the fact that they did have a cure for vampirism and that Lucard does still have that secret element of that formula to create the anti-vampire potion. Doesn't like at all.
I feel like episodes 2 through 11 or 10's continuity is scrapped now, except the Boffin did come back.
Yeah,
but I really feel like these recent episodes, they're really laying into the serialized potential of Dracula the series. So we then cut to Lucard's office where Mrs. Fennel is doing shit in front of a computer that isn't turned on, like very obviously not turned on. And Sophie arrives as a bat and transforms. And we had not established yet that Mrs. Fennel is a vampire, or Fenning is a vampire, but she is. And so she telepathically communicated with Sophie to ask her to come in because she wants to talk to her about something, which is plotting against Lucard because he only sees her as his pet project and has no intention of including you in his business because he's a misogynist pig.
And and she has, Miss Fenning has been overlooked. Her intelligence, her skills have been overlooked her entire life, and she's sick of it.
Yes.
As a woman, I understand that.
So her story is even sadder than that because she was the secretary who did all of her husband's work. Boy. And then he died and she was like, you should hire me. And they were like, screw off. And then I don't know where she says it, but at some point she's like, it was awesome to be, get this job with Lucard and get to become a vampire. Okay. So then Lucard shows up. They convince him that they're not plotting against him somehow really quickly. And then they talk about how Sophie has sent a postcard that says, "Dear old friends, having a wonderful time at the castle. Wish you were here."
Oh. So this is the first element of the cliche thing where she she tells Lucard that this is what she wrote. And in telling him, she's putting on this hacky act where it looks like she's got two fingers making the peace sign when she's saying this. And then at the end, she does the old finger guns toward Lucard, like, wish you were here, and finger guns at Lucard. And he's like, ah, ha, 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 your dark wit is developing nicely. And it's like, is that dark wit? I don't think that's dark wit. I think she's just being a troll.
Yeah, it's kind of sad that, Sophie became a vampire and teamed up with Lucard, and they just suck.
Yeah. Again, bring Mom back into the picture.
Okay.
I would love Mom to show up.
So then we cut home to the boys, where they're talking about how none of Sophie's friends have seen her, to which my note was, what friends?
Yeah. She seems to only be in competition with young ladies in her orchestra, and we never see her interact with anybody except the family.
But then the morning mail is, and I'm just like, why? There's your cliche. TV shows introducing the idea that mail comes 7 times a day just in time for the scene. Like,
yeah. And in the morning, like everywhere I've lived, I get mail like later than you would expect. It's like, I didn't know mail was delivered at 10:30 at night. But it was,
not in Luxembourg.
Not in Luxembourg. Apparently they get several mail deliveries a day, and they get Sophie's postcard and read it out loud, repeating again the same thing she already said
a scene ago. Yep.
So stupid.
Maybe a commercial break was in between.
Maybe. I bet it was.
Okay. But now we get to Fenning plotting with the zombies, including a zombie, I think, that died an episode or 2 ago.
Oh.
Maybe. The zombies just...
Well, maybe they can get resurrected. I mean, we don't know the life cycle of one of these zombies.
That is true. The one that Max confused, did that one die?
I don't know.
Okay. Here we go. Oh, wow. I have so many notes, but we're halfway through. Easy. Okay, so Fanning is plotting with the zombies. She's going to make them smart again if they help her kill Lucard.
She's going to turn them into vampires.
And their brains will work
again.
We then cut to Lucard and Sophie. She's getting... She's looking at herself in a mirror. She is not putting on this red dress he got her.
Right.
But he got her a red dress to go seduce and kill a political target. So Prince Andrew. Did you see that they're kicking Meghan and Harry out of the cottage the Queen gave them for Prince Andrew? I'm just like, that is a look. Like, you might want to kick them out, but setting him up in his little cottage, that's a little weird. Okay, good job, King Charles. Okay. But then Lucard says, Sophie, you won't be able to see your reflection much longer once you become a full vampire. So we're establishing that she still needs to do the deed. She has yet to feed on anyone, apparently.
No, she fed on her teacher, didn't she?
She mauled her and didn't do any damage.
But she fanged out.
That's not how they just use that as their cutting influence.
Okay. I don't know. It seemed like she fed on her.
I feel like we're going to have to watch this entire show 2 more times to answer these questions, and I don't think that's a good idea. Unless we make a Patreon and the goal is
drive Emily
$150,000 a year a month. We'll do it. There you go. We can quit our jobs and become Dracula the series scholars, like the people who write the synopses on IMDb. Okay, moving on. The boys.
We can update that Wikipedia page. Ooh, baby.
Oh, okay. So here's the ew. So this is your creep moment. So the boys are coming in. So we see them coming in, but then we cut back to Sophie going, Alexander, I'm nervous. And
I'm nervous about tonight. Again, like, out of context, this is so creepy. I'm so nervous about tonight. Please don't hurt me. Please be gentle. Oh, please. It's so gross.
Don't just as long as you don't displease me, Sophie. To which my note was, ew.
Yeah.
So
and her response is, I would never displease you, Alexander, which is also ew. Thank you, male writers. I was going to say male writers' room, but I don't think it was a room of people writing this.
It was the zombies. They had the zombies sitting in a room together. Okay. Let's also not forget, we have met other employees of Lucard's over the series. They've all disappeared.
Yeah.
Like, they never, we do not have a good returning cast on the show.
No.
Like, it's weird. They brought the boffin back, though. Anyway, so then we cut to Fenning cooking a holy water thing in Lucard's dungeon that is apparently at the end of the cells that we've never seen, where she's got a vat of holy water cooking.
I didn't notice that. Why do you have to? I didn't notice that she was cooking holy water.
She told the zombies to be careful. It's holy water.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry.
I don't know why you have to cook holy water.
Why do you have to cook holy water?
I don't know.
I'll ask a priest.
You should. You should not do that.
I'm going to ask a priest. If I'm trying to fight a vampire, does it help me to cook holy water?
Okay. That's your follow-up, I guess, from the episode. All right. So then we cut to Lucard not appearing in the mirror, which is real special effects for this show.
Yes. Except it was just shot at an angle that you couldn't see him.
But then the boys come in and they're like, Helsing, what an unexpected pleasure. And then Sophie comes in as a bat. And Lucard's like, do you remember your friend? And she's like, oh, yes, I remember Chris. He's mine. And then somebody laughs. Lucard is in his full makeup at this point, too. There's no transition to that, but he's got on his vampire eyes.
Yeah.
And he's like, what are you waiting around for? Go eat him.
Yeah.
So then she turns into all the all the little bats, which is not explained why that happens that way still. She chases Chris. Then Fenning says, throw the chain. And then the zombies throw a chain that ties up Dracula while Gustav and Max run after Chris.
Yes.
So then we get Fenning's plan is to stake him and holy water him, but she needs the zombies to do something. And then Lucard tells the zombies to stop her, and one of the zombies listens. And so the other one gets killed. And then Gustav kills the other one that helped him because he was loyal too late.
Yeah.
But what's-her-face has teleported or batted out. So she's gone. And now we cut to Chris and Sophie running through the dungeon. But it's Chris running around being followed by a CGI bat. But it's 1990 CGI, so it's just this blob on the screen.
And you hear echoing, disembodied laughter that is Sophie's. Again, It sounds like, we talk about her bad acting in this episode specifically. She sounds like when somebody is asked to laugh and laugh hysterically or maniacally, but you can tell that it's fake. It's like, ha 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 ha, and it gets increasingly like it's ha 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 at increasing speeds, and it's echoing, and it's so bad. And in the meantime, she's throwing around all these cliche bad guy phrases. Like, well, except for the, why are you running after, a pretty girl? Or why are you running away from a pretty girl?
Don't you like it when the girl chases you for a change, Chris?
Yeah, it's all this dumb shit. And it was so bad. And it seemed so long. It seemed like about a third of the episode was this chase.
Yep.
What did you have to say about the chase? Because I was just annoyed. I was mostly annoyed by her dialogue in this.
I mean, that is the worst part of it. Yeah, that the sound part of it's the worst. Because I'm like, the the whole chase part of it isn't necessarily bad. Like, yeah, they can't really do much with it, but it's not, it doesn't look as bad as it could, right?
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, no, but the having her taunt him and things is just like, what is going on? Again, she became a vampire and it made Lucard and her even less cool.
Yeah. And like you said last week, she didn't want to be a vampire expressly. And now she's a vampire and she's relishing it. And it's like, I don't know.
So much for that good nature.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we cut to Lucard walking in on Mrs. Fenning preparing them glasses of wine. And she's like, I can't run from you. So I just thought we'd have a nice glass of wine and then I'll kill myself so I can be with my husband. Lucard drinks his wine. So we have two vampires just drinking grape juice at this point, fermented grape juice.
Mm-hmm.
We are.
Oh, a 47 Margot.
Yeah, because that's going to be important. But something's wrong because Lucard's fine.
Her
and
face,
she's
her
like,
face scrunches up as he drinks the wine, and she's like, "You should be dead by now."
because we miss seeing her we miss talking about her putting holy water in the wine. We see her do that very obviously. And then he's like, I knew it wasn't that. You can't water down the 47 Margot.
I would notice. I'm very
and
fancy.
He's like, poor Fenning. You'd know that vampires are a nimble species who can move cups at hyperspeed.
And then we get a weird special effect.
Yep.
Reenacting her handing him the wine and them standing close to each other and him swapping out the glasses, which we don't see anything even resembling that in the actual scene.
You just can't see that
just
fast.
Really bad special effects.
Just can't see that fast. But then she starts emitting blue light that encompasses her, and she falls over the table and zaps out of existence, to which Lucard wails and then is like, she marred the finish. Waka.
Again with this. I don't know. Whatever.
Okay. So then, does he call her a foolish woman, or did I just write that down?
I think he calls her a foolish woman.
Okay. So then we get back to the chase scene where Sophie is now calling him Chrissy.
Chrissy.
And they're out in the forest, and she's back to human form. And she gets on top of him and is like, don't kill me. I could never kill you. We're going to live forever. We're going to be Peter Pan with fangs. But then he says, I love you, Sophie. And she's like, I love you too. We'll always be together.
We'll be young and in love forever.
Forever. And then he says, I got to know you mean what you say, so you got to kiss me, which is like, weird. But first, and she's like, sure, I'm down. But first, let's have some breath spray.
Which he sprays all over his lower chin.
All over his face.
Under his nose. All over his mouth. Not in his mouth, mind you. And his
all
chin.
Over his face.
It's so ridiculous.
They go in for the kiss. She starts shaking and convulsing, rolls over on her back, asking him what he's done to her. The boys show up after she goes unconscious, and he's like, I thought I could save her. And then Gustav checks her pulse. You've done it, Chris. You've saved her.
Oh, like Prince Charming.
Well, Max says, what'd you do? And Chris is like, well, I just kissed her. Just kissed her, man. That's all the ladies need.
Aw. Happy Women's History Month.
Her story. Happy Women's Her Story. This is Sophie's Her Story. Ugh. Okay. I feel like Mia Kirshner is never guesting on the pod.
How am I going to get Mia Kirshner? How am I going to get Mia Kirshner?
I don't know. Ask your mom.
Are they friends? Maybe.
Aren't they both Canadian?
I don't know. I
I
don't
don't think
know.
Natasha Lyonne's Canadian.
No, she's
I'm
from New
just,
York.
I'm just disparaging her as a Canadian as I
Oh.
do that.
Oh, how dare you?
If her career had gone a different way, I could call her Canada Natasha.
She is definitely from New York. I mean,
Okay.
obviously she's from New York, but
So we then cut to back home. Chris and Sophie are on the couch. Chris is explaining the plan. He was going to draw her away to get her out of Lucard's influence, where he was then going to convince her to kiss him while he had the spring water splashed across his face.
didn't
Now,
take much convincing, did it? Huh?
it did not take much convincing, to which Sophie asks very coyly, "Were all those things you said just part of your plan, Chris?" And he's like, "No, Sophie, I meant every word." And she's like, "I meant every word too." So there's the doorbell, and but they're going in for kissing.
And the funniest part of the episode, again, Jacob Tierney redeeming himself. He pops up from behind the couch, like, "Hey guys, I'll go get the door." It was funny. It was funny.
Jacob Tierney, so Max assumed they were hooking up this whole time too, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And once he realized they weren't, he's like, "I gotta get these two together."
Yeah.
Like, I can't handle living in a house without being able to peep on this. Like, that's weird. That's just weird. Vampire hunting without peeping? Nah, I'm out. Okay. They almost kiss again. I think they almost kiss 3 times.
3 times. Yeah, that's what I
But
counted.
then Max is like, "Chris, you should really come to the door." And Chris is like, "Take a message." And he's like, "No, you need to come here." So he gets up, starts going over, and in comes Alexa from Philadelphia.
AKA Tamara Gorski, beautiful Canadian actress. We don't hear her speak a lot, but she's got a pretty heavy Canadian accent. I have seen her before in things, including one of my favorite Kids in the Hall sketches, where she plays a pretty young woman who's new in the office, and the Cathys give her a hard time because she's so pretty that men keep buying her flowers. A guy at a restaurant she walked past in the street sends a drink to her office, bought her a drink, and the waiter delivers it. It's very funny. And she's eating junk food the whole time, and the Cathys are very jealous. Speaking of Women's History Month, it's a very funny sketch. I posted it on Facebook. You should watch it.
So then Sophie gets up and walks over and says, "Well, aren't you going to introduce me, Chris?" And then they start saying they all want an explanation. And Max ends the episode going, "Yes, Chris, I want an explanation too."
Yeah, I'd be in for an explanation. That was pretty funny too.
So did we mention he had a girlfriend in the pilot that he moved away from?
I don't remember that. But
Why
I don't know.
would you let your 15-year-old daughter go to Luxembourg on her own to visit this numbskull and his creepy uncle who has a house of children he collects without announcing it beforehand?
So another thing is the actress is like 23 or something, 22, 23. And Chris, I can't find his age. But he does not look like he is
he's not.
Young adult playing a teenager. He looks like a full-on teenager.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're going to see much of their relationship for that reason. I think it would be creepy for whatever, for a lot of reasons.
It would be, but it was 1991.
But also, we are wading into another story arc.
Great. Does Lucard turn her into a vampire, do we think? Do we think that's going to happen?
Oh, I don't know.
So, other things to talk about with this episode. So, Sophie's plan was to turn Chris.
Mm-hmm.
And they would be in love forever.
Oh, God.
That was her plan even outside of Lucard's influence.
Yeah. The
Okay.
dangers of young love. Let me tell you.
Clearly.
Jesus
Clearly.
Christ.
But
Ugh.
then apparently they were also going to turn Max and Gustav. But Lucard hates Gustav. So it's like, is he going to hate him less if he turns him into a vampire? I feel like Gustav would just be more annoying as a vampire.
Yeah. But he can say that he turned, famous vampire hunter into a vampire. Gizmo's wish, right?
But yeah, so cool. We've got another story arc coming up.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, the show was so much more fun when it was just terrible and disorganized as opposed to organized and terrible.
I'm so sorry. I got a
That's
present. Did I tell you I got you a present?
did, but you failed to tell the audience that it's a complete collection of Geordie Johnson's dinner theater. It better not be that.
Not. It's much cooler. It's much cooler. It's pretty cool.
6 more? 7 more?
This is 14, 7, 6 more. I don't know. We have to decide whether or not we're going to do that clip show.
I don't know.
Is a clip show good for a podcast? I
don't know. We should try to do the clip show live. We should do a commentary track for the clip show.
Oh
That's what
my
we should do
God.
for the clip show.
Oh,
That's what we should do for that.
we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
I'll have to edit this out. Don't want to ruin any surprises.
Let's see. Anything else? Let's see. Gustav's really, whatever that guy's name is, he's really hacking it this episode too.
Yeah, he's really bad. Chris
Mrs.
is really
Fenning's
bad.
not terrible. It's a terrible part, but it's like she's be fine in something else, and
she's been in a billion things. She does a lot of voice work.
That's what I was noticing. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, and that whole it was more successful. Her attempted coup was more successful than the 2 episodes ago or 3 episodes ago with Sophie's mentor thing, creepy Svengali lady.
Yeah.
But yeah, it
is what it is.
It is what it is.
So we have another episode to look forward to.
We got 6 or 7 of those.
Well, but I mean, you know what I mean. Another story arc. The next episode 15, I need to get back to the Wikipedia page. I got down a rabbit hole.
That is a weird title for an episode.
Yeah, it is a weird title. I went to Wikipedia, not to IMDb. Damn it. Oh, I'm not going to edit any of this out.
Well, that's because people need to know IMDb's got the better information.
IMDb does have the better information on this. Double darkness, mind over matter, great tales. Okay, my girlfriend's back and there's going to be trouble. So this young lady has come to Luxembourg from Philadelphia with no guardian, not telling anybody that she's coming, and we get to deal with that. My girlfriend's back.
She was a young teacher, and she was one of those young teachers because she's blonde, and all those teachers are blonde, right?
She's not blonde.
I thought she was blonde on the show.
I don't think so.
All right.
I don't think we get a really good look at her, and the quality is, not the best.
Well,
we'll see
next. That would
explain
why a grown woman's hanging around Chris, and also not be too far off from the show.
Again, just the actress is 23. I'm sure she's playing a teenager.
An unaccompanied minor flying around the globe to visit Gustav Helsing's unemployed Helsing, weird dude who's on TV fighting with psychics.
Didn't the mother think to call this guy and be like, I'm sending my teenage daughter to visit her boyfriend. I really hope that you can provide a supervised environment that they're not going to be fucking everywhere.
And Gustav's like, well, it'll be fine. Sophie's here, so all three of them can. And they'll be like, what did you just say? And he's like, I'm sorry, what? It's time for a polka contest. Pass the schnitzel. No. We thought what's her face was a bad parent just because she was going to eat her kids, but no, we found the real bad parents. Anyone who would let them visit
Gustav. His house of wayward children.
Oh God. Okay.
Horny wayward children.
Still not as creepy as Free Spirit. So
no, not at all.
We've still got that until the episode where they're burying her out back. And they're like, what are we going to say? And they'll be like, I don't know. We'll say a vampire got her.
Yeah. Okay. Well, until next time, my girlfriend's back and there's going to be trouble. Hey, Andrew. See you in Television Land.
Ooh, see you in Television Land, Emily.
Oh, bye-bye.